Welcome to week 2 here of MPAI 600 here at Georgetown University. As I mentioned, there's no class on Tuesday, so this is the class. It'll be an asynchronous lecture, and I will see you guys in class next Monday. So just to start off with a couple announcements. Keep up the effort. Great posts, at least for the initial posts that I've seen for the UBL and the applications of the ints. That's what I want to see. Again, 500 words total. So if there's one discussion, it's 500 words. If it's two discussions, it's 250 to 300 words each. But what I saw was great. Detailed explanations were well, and I look forward to the discussion fruiting out a little bit more this weekend. So ChatGPT, I didn't mention this last week, and I should have. I'm sure everyone here has heard of ChatGPT and its applications to this program, or applications to graduate school in general. Schools are struggling with this. Schools and instructors and professors have outright banned it. I am not going to. I don't think that's realistic. But the one thing I will say is, one, please don't plagiarize and copy and paste off of ChatGPT. That is an honor code violation. That will get you kicked out of Georgetown. So, one, be cognizant of that. Two, the papers and discussion boards I give are so specific that the generic spit out that ChatGPT does, I'll find out. And I've already found out people, not in this class, but in previous classes, using ChatGPT. So, when I read all these papers and I see one that looks canned or a little bit structured, I'll spot it. So you're taking a huge risk if you do that. What I will say is use ChatGPT. I look at it as Wikipedia. You're not allowed to use Wikipedia, or you're not allowed to cite Wikipedia or copy and paste Wikipedia in this class or in any part of this program. But I guarantee you probably will use Wikipedia to get the background information on something, or to give an understanding, or see what mirrors your logic. And that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine to use ChatGPT with that to get the background information. Where your analysis comes down is trying to push down and apply what you've learned in class to specific parts of the background. So if you ChatGPT causes of the 9/11 intelligence failure, it'll spit out probably 14, 15 bullets, something along those lines. I want in your paper to focus on one or two of those bullets, do your research, and go down that path, or nug down in more detail. So that's kind of how I expect AI to be included in this class as well. We will also be talking about AI as it relates to intelligence and law enforcement and cybersecurity as well. So we're definitely going to look at it in that perspective. And then finally, Module 2 is, so just to clear up any confusion, when you're done watching this and you're done with the UBL discussions, you are on Module 2. So start Module 2 as soon as you're done watching this. So we covered the intelligence cycle, and this is just a picture. So I talked about requirements, and then collection, organization, analysis, organization, receptive policymaker, policymaker makes decision. And that's not a typo. I have organization there twice. So as I mentioned, it starts with requirements, the questions that are asked. It starts with the collection, how to collect information. The collection has to go to the right people, has to be organized right. We're going to talk about case studies where it wasn't organized right. So it goes to the analysts who make decisions and who sift through information and have historical data and can spit out which is the correct collection, which needs to be thrown out. I have organization here because then from the analyst, it needs to go to the policymaker, not circumvent from collection to policymaker, as we'll talk about in some other case studies as well. So analysis, organization goes to a policymaker that hopefully is receptive, may or may not be, and then the policymaker makes the decision. As I mentioned, all of these things have to happen for intelligence to be accurate. It's actually amazing that we don't have more intelligence failures. So we're going to talk about this in each module in this program. And today we're going to focus on on collection. So we're going to go through the collection disciplines, and these are how the U.S. government breaks down how we collect information by what category and by what source. The first I'm going to talk about is HUMINT. What's the definition is all things collected from human beings. Sometimes you'll see in the newspapers it's special sources, but it could be interrogation reports. It could be collecting information at a party. Anything that involves human-to-human contact is human intelligence. So that's the definition. And the advantages are clear. You can't really collect terrorist activity by imagery or in detail with imagery. Can't know Putin's intentions, what Vladimir Putin needs to do to withdraw from Ukraine. You can't really get into his mindset without some sort of source that has close access to him. So sometimes HUMINT's the only thing you can do for those very, very tight problem sets. So that's the advantage. The disadvantage is clear. Humans lie. Humans make stuff up. Humans forget things. Everyone, I think, has played the telephone game where the message might be true from one set, but when it goes through several layers, a whole different message comes across. So those are the disadvantages of HUMINT. In the historical case study, just going back to history, again, HUMINT has been used since the dawn of time, since the first wars have occurred. And it is carried all the way through the current present. Where it goes wrong is the Iraq case study, which I have down here as video 1, which I want you to go ahead and pause me and watch, and you can see where HUMINT goes wrong. So go ahead, pause me, and watch that video. Okay, so there you saw, again, a perfect example of curveball, who we will study in depth, and how the HUMINT was so erroneous, and how it led to the Iraq WMD, or a portion of the Iraq WMD failure. And you saw, again, a guy who's fabricating. He wanted to get his green card, and he was willing to tell people exactly what they wanted to hear. And that is a big problem in HUMINT. So SIGINT, COMINT, this is all information collected from electronic sources. Everything from communication to radio communications, to cell phones, to chats, to email, any information collected in that manner. The advantages are key. We all need to communicate. We all use these devices, whether you're a military force or whether you're a terrorist cell network. And if you, you can collect that information from all varying sources. But two, if you force the enemy or the adversary to use different aspects to be robbed of this capability because they fear it being used to target them, then you have an advantage too. And I'll talk about that in a second. Disadvantages, one, there's encryption. And we're playing a game of something comes up and it gets encrypted and then it's broken and then re-encrypted. So we're playing that kind of game going forward, and that's a big disadvantage. There's civil liberties issues, which I'll talk about in a second, that relate to, particularly in the U.S., domestic intelligence. So those are the key disadvantages. Just historical case studies. Some of you might remember from high school the Zimmerman telegram. That was a World War I intercept that the Germans tried to get the Mexicans to end the World War by promising them territories in the United States. And that information was intercepted over a fiber optic cable by the British. They brought that information to the Americans and helped bring America into the war during the First World War. Second World War, probably everyone's known, or if you haven't watched the movie, watch the movie Imitation Game, because that covers the Enigma code, which breaking that was key to helping defeat German submarines. And there's been other code breaking during World War II as well. But current day, again, where it's advantageous and it's where it's controversial is in domestic intelligence, in its use, particularly in democracies, of gathering data and gathering information. There's been a lot of, particularly when the Snowden revelations came out 10 years ago, there's a lot of misconceptions on it. I want you to watch this video number 2 down here that I think is a humorous but also educational way on the problems with domestic surveillance and electronic eavesdropping. And again, I apologize, it's a little raunchy, so viewer discretion is advised. But I think it's 30 minutes. Watch the whole. If you want to watch the whole thing, go ahead, because it's funny and entertaining, and that gives you some understanding of domestic SIGINT, domestic surveillance. So pause me and go ahead and watch video 2. Okay, so welcome back. The one thing I will say about SIGINT and that I alluded to before is you are robbing particularly a non-state actor, a terrorist capability, of all the accoutrements of modern technology to plan and plot. Let me illustrate it this way. Go ahead and plan a party, whether it's your kid's birthday or an engagement party or wedding shower or what have you, and do it without an Evite that you do electronically. Do it without Amazon so you can buy gifts. Do it without email so you can tell everyone and provide invitations. Do it without being able to communicate and facilitate using your cell phone and your Amazon account and your Gmail and all those things. It's very hard to put that together. Now imagine we're a terrorist organization and we need to plot and plan, and we don't have that modern technology, and where we have to use couriers or we have to use other more slower communications methods. How hard is it for us to plot, to plan, to coordinate, to fundraise? Just keep that in mind, that even we might not get everyone using SIGINT, we also rob them of key capabilities. So I have a little bit of a bias, but I just want to make sure you're aware of that. Okay, next, IMINT, GeoInt. This is information collected from imagery, and traditionally it was satellite, reconnaissance aircraft, but I would also group CCTV, cell phone data, or cell phone cameras. Anything that has a camera, I would group it into the GeoInt. The advantages are clear. A picture is a great thing. A picture can, especially if you can provide it in multiple time frames, could tell a story that you wouldn't be able to get, and you can do it right from your computer or right from a closed circuit TV. So it's very clear advantage. The disadvantage is, one, sometimes you have cloud cover, which prevents satellites. The disadvantages are trolling through lots of data. But the other disadvantage is that you can manipulate a picture to provide credibility in any situation. If you say, well, Iraq has WMD, and you throw a picture up on the PowerPoint, I doubt your audience, unless they're technical experts, are going to know what you're looking at. But if you have a picture up there and you say, hey, this is a mobile lab, as you just may have seen in the previous video, or this is a nuclear weapons site, everyone's going to give you credibility, even though that could be a milk truck that you're throwing up on the picture. So that's the disadvantages. So go ahead in the case study. Watch video 3 down here and pause me and come back. Okay, so welcome back. Again, that was a great example of North Korea and how open source information has been used to look at North Korean capabilities, or North Korean missile and nuclear capabilities as well. So the UBL case study, again, I think everyone hit a lot of this. Integration of multiple intelligence disciplines without over-reliance on one wouldn't have led to bin Laden. And I think the answer was clear. The signals the human intelligence was the original information from the interrogation of Hassan Gul. And I'm not going to get into here, I will get into later, about enhanced interrogation, but that was the original source. The SIGINT allowed for tracking of the courier and connecting that to bin Laden. And then the GEOINT was sort of two purposes. One, it helped focus when you had the location. You could surveil it and say, okay, we know bin Laden has 3 wives, and it looks like there's 3 households in here. We know there's a big guy pacing back and forth. So that is likely bin Laden. The second thing is, if you want to do the raid, you need GEOINT to provide you a detailed layout of the facility. You need to know this is what the front door looks like, and between the front door and the staircase there's 8 paces, and the staircase is a rounding staircase, and on the 3rd floor there's the GEOINT could provide that information so you can conduct a raid. So that the UBL case study, I think, covered that pretty well. So again, that covers Module 1. Congratulations. Well done, everybody. Moving on to Module 2. Again, Module 2 starts now. So the collection strategy. So go ahead and pause me again, and I'm going to give you an example of the collection strategy here. So pause me and go ahead and watch that. Okay, and welcome back. And a couple of things. So you could see in that video, develop requirements, apply the intelligence disciplines, the ones that I just went over, to a particular problem, analyze the pitfalls. Where are those intelligence disciplines going to fall short? And then be creative. This is really put pen to paper or fingers to keyboard. Don't get caught up in I don't know what I'm doing and stuff. Just try and apply the lessons that I've just talked about to a case study that you're interested in, either through your job or personal interest, and just go from there. And that's due on the 18th, and I will have that to you the week after. So that covers the collection strategies, and we're moving into analysis. So the Lowenthal Chapter 6 and the Intelligence Tradecraft Primer, those are the two readings. The documentary is PBS Frontline, The Confessions. I can't emphasize this enough. In the discussion for this week, when we talk about Intelligence Tradecraft Primer, or we talk about intelligence or pitfalls, apply the pitfalls in the Intelligence Tradecraft Primer and the Lowenthal to the Confessions case study in the discussion. Let me say that again. The intelligence traps and pitfalls that are covered by Lowenthal and the Tradecraft Primer, apply it to the Confessions case study. So please do that in your discussion. You will not get full credit if you do not do that. And I'm feeling a little generous today, so I'm going to give till Friday to do the discussion. So do the original post on Friday, and then you have the weekend to cover it, and then we will discuss it in class next Monday. So I hope everyone, if you're still in the weekend, you have a good weekend. If you're finishing up the weekend, you had a good weekend and a good summer. I look forward to seeing everyone. I look forward to everyone's discussion, and I will grade the UBL one early so you can see what I'm looking for the Confessions case study discussion coming up. So I will see you next Monday.